Well, welcome to the BNI Effect, the home of amazing conversations with Brisbane BNI members, sharing tips on how you can get the most out of your BNI membership. I'm Tony Meredith, and ordinarily I'm a business coach, but today I'm your host and fellow BNI member, bringing you yet another exciting interview. This is episode number 53, and today's guest is Lucas Meadowcroft. Lucas, g'day, mate.
G'day, buddy. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. Now, let's kick it off by you giving us a brief overview of who you are, your business, and the main services and products that you offer.
Absolutely. Lucas Meadowcroft, CEO and co-founder of Crofty. We're an AI automation specialist boutique organization based here in Brisbane. We service all range of businesses with a heavy focus in construction, manufacturing, and wholesale, and NDIS. Our job is to remove all the inefficiencies inside organizations. So we heavily focus on business process improvement, optimizing administrative tasks, let's call it, because the fearful conversation around AI, and so we try to remove the admin-related tasks first, put efficiency in place, and then we focus on more advanced automation within a company. But our job is to add ROI. I always say if you spend $100,000 with us, you'll get a $2 million ROI because AI is so powerful these days.
And so, given that, I mean, AI has certainly swept the globe, certainly in the last sort of 12, 18 months, you're hearing a lot more about it. I would imagine that you're getting an enormous amount of inquiry because AI is just such a buzzword at the moment.
Definitely a hell of a lot more than when we first started back in 2018 in the AI space. Couldn't talk to anyone about it then. The inquiries definitely picked up. It's the unknown, right? So a lot of people still don't understand what the hell AI even means. People relate to ChatGPT, and that's as far as they get in the conversation, which is, it's a great app. And honestly, without ChatGPT going live 2 years ago or 2.5 years ago, there's no chance we'd be having this conversation today with businesses. So definitely the activity's definitely increased, but the conversion on getting people on the AI journey is still a bit of an educational process.
And so, just on that, so then what are the things that you're doing to try and help people, from an educational point of view? Because, like you said, it's pretty much sort of ChatGPT. I recognize there's other models out there, but how are you helping businesses just understand the power of AI, that it's broader than ChatGPT and the impact that it can make on their business?
Very much educational. So we're still, I call it the education phase. And so we're doing a lot of workshops and a lot of AI automation sessions and running through case studies. So we did like 17 AI workshops last year with businesses and business groups. I'm on track to do probably 20 this year. Just getting in front of 10, 15, 20, 30 business owners and explaining the power of AI automation and using case studies, real world case studies of all the projects that we've worked on, all the different business problems that we're solving in organizations, and show real world examples so that it physically relates to the business owner and the leadership team directly, and it opens up their mind, and they have that aha moment, and that the light bulb goes off, and that's super powerful. So I love doing that.
Fantastic. Now, you're in BNI, that's why we're here on the BNI Effect. But how and when were you introduced to BNI, Lucas?
Dare I say, more than 20 years ago. Uh,
Wow.
so I've officially been a BNI member, I believe it's 17 years
Mhm.
in the BNI records. But I originally joined BNI when I first joined an IT company on the Gold Coast. And the guy that was going, the owner of the company that was going to BNI, um, I think I was only there for about 6 months or so in the company, and he got sick or had to go away on holidays. I can't really remember. And he's like, "Oh, can you fill in for me at BNI?" And I was like, just a few months into the job, I said, "Yeah, sure, why not? What is this thing?" And I was petrified, absolutely petrified. Public speaking, I was super young. Yeah, but that was my introduction to BNI, and I end up falling in love with it. I then joined my own chapter. I then became a president only, 1 year or 18 months into it, and just fell in love with how valuable it is from being a part of a networking group.
So what was it about that first meeting that sort of, helped you fall in love with BNI?
Definitely not the first meeting. It probably took me
Okay.
six months. I still remember vividly in my mind standing up and saying the 60 seconds and literally just like shaking and not being able to have any words come out of my mouth. But because I was young, early 20s. It was like people were very encouraging, and like everyone in the room really wanted to see me do well, and so they were very supportive of my nerves that first 6 months. It was probably that's where I was filling in for someone, but it wasn't until I joined a group myself, and you feel like you're taking on the ownership, and that ownership is empowering, especially of young age and not really having any business experience. Taking on that ownership of your probably the accountability is what I fell in love with. It's like you've got a set of rules you got to follow. You got to turn up. You got to do X, Y, Z. You do that and you get results. And I guess once you start seeing results, you're like, oh, this is an absolute no brainer.
And it's a pretty simple process when you describe it like that. The thing that I love about BNI is it's all laid out for you. So you don't need to think about what am I going to do? It's just I need to follow the bouncing ball.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think that's the best thing about it, right? It's such a simple process, and yet for some reason people still can't understand or follow it. And it's like, no, it's you literally turn up to BNI every week. You make sure you book in a one-to-one coffee meeting or two if you can. You when you're speaking to your clients, you keep an eye out or an ear out for words that people are saying to be able to refer people into to solve their problems. The end.
I agree with you. I think what it is, Lucas, is a lot of people just can't believe how simple it is. Surely this thing must be more complex. Surely there must be more to this. But like you said, like I'm aware as well, it's just a really simple process, and it's just about being, consistent and persistent with that following of the bouncing ball.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so when I was introduced to BNI, I was like, I was said before, super nervous. But once you start falling into that, I guess, that routine and you start seeing the outcomes, it just becomes second nature. And I think people don't commit long enough to see the results, in my opinion, from what I've seen over the last, 16, 17 years as being a full-time member. It's like the members that come, they come for 3 months or 6 months, they don't see results till they exit. It's like you've got to put the effort and the consistency and follow the bouncing ball, and then you see the result, and you're like, oh, why would I ever leave? This is the best thing that's ever happened with my business.
Which is why you're still here, right? All these years later, and I think the other
Yep.
piece is that we're in 2025, and there's this whole instant gratification piece, and we want those results today, tomorrow, etc. And like you said, it takes time. It's about following the process, being consistent, doing all the things that you should be doing. But if you can manage that expectation, then it is phenomenally successful, and clearly that's why here you are some 20 odd years later. You wouldn't be here if it wasn't providing you with what you're looking for your business, but then also personally as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I review the stats every single year before I renew. I don't just renew as a member off the basic, because I have been for a long time. Especially when we started this business 11 years ago, it was part of our marketing strategy. And every year, the last 11 years, it's I review the statistics. What are the results? What outcome? What ROI? How much dollars are in the bank? Every single year. And if they don't meet my expectation, then I wouldn't renew. But the only time it hasn't met it is COVID. We dropped 150K below our expectation those two COVID years. And I was like, well, I can't really, can't really say that's a BNI problem. Um, apart from that, we're like we always aim for 500K a year. If we don't hit 500K a year in revenue, then it's not worth my time. Is how I put it to myself, with the amount of time and effort and energy you need to put into BNI. And we always get damn close, and if not, smash it.
That's amazing. How has being part of a BNI chapter influenced your approach to networking?
Solving problems. I think this is one thing I've learned is it's not just about networking. It's about listening to your customers, listening to what they're currently struggling with, where you can offer advice or provide solutions to. And what I love is that I don't even have to use the word BNI, but just like when you onboard a new customer and you're taking them through a solution that you're providing and say, hey, is there anything else that you've ever got coming up in your business? And you need to just run a second opinion bar. I've been in part of networking groups and business for a very long time. Just give me a buzz, and I'm happy to give you a second opinion before you go make a decision. So I say that to every new customer we're onboarded. It's very generic, very open, nothing specific. And I had a client the other day, brand new customer, only a couple of months working with us, and they called me and said, "I absolutely love your uniform, your t-shirts. We want some. Where do you get them from? Um, can you recommend and refer me to that person immediately?" And that's already happened. Obviously, they've already actioned it and organised new t-shirts for them. But it's just I just love solving problems for business owners and leaders, and having a BNI network absolutely helps with that. But then you extend it outside of the BNI network to everyone else you also associate or work with that's not a part of your BNI group or other BNI groups. And the philosophy of BNIs or give this gain works so effectively.
How has your business evolved since joining BNI? I appreciate it's been a long time. And then what role has networking played in your growth, Lucas?
Very, very good question. So IT support is what I was doing for many moons, 15, 20 years. I was in BNI for, I guess, 15 years in IT support. We transitioned into artificial intelligence in 2018. And I was still doing IT support for a few years while we were also building artificial intelligence. And the BNI journey has allowed us to listen. And we had transitioned from an IT support business to an innovation consulting business to a process improvement automation specialing business. And this is all based off conversations from BNI members and clients that had been referred to me from BNI, business owners, listening to their needs. And their needs were more, they wanted more than just IT support. They wanted problem solved in their business, and they wanted to be more efficient. And so we had evolved from supporting them from an IT support perspective, password reset, computer running slow, printer not working, through to looking at spreadsheets, automating macros and spreadsheets, through to then putting automation tools in place, integrating systems together. Then fast forward to where we are today is implementing AI agents and chatbots and automating entire processes and roles within organizations. And that's just listening to customers. And I think the BNI network's definitely helped from that openness and wanting to understand how we can help and solve problems.
What advice would you give to new BNI members to make the most out of their membership?
Oh, super simple. Follow the process. Like when you join BNI, and I mentioned this before, but where I see everyone fail from making the most or getting the most out of BNI is not putting the hard work in for the first 3 to 6 months. Before you join BNI, make sure you dedicate time. So I have a very structured BNI approach that works for me these days. Every Wednesday, so we meet BNI on Wednesday morning. So this could be any morning, so whatever morning you meet. That day is my BNI day. So if you're not a full-time salesperson in your business, and I wasn't for a very long time, I carved out half a day. So that first half a day of the morning on a Wednesday morning was all BNI up until say 10 a.m., 11 a.m. And then the last couple of hours was on sales. Then once that's done, then you can go back to doing delivery if that's what you're doing in your business. But once I dedicated that time in my mind and also in my calendar, and nothing else got booked in, then I was able to do the one-to-ones. I was able to do the client meetings, the referrals. I was able to do the introduction to emails, enter all my paperwork into the BNI app. Well, back in the day, I was physically writing slips. But like once I dedicated that time and effort into my calendar for BNI, then I saw a massive uptake. And I remember many years we were doing 80k a year in BNI. We're like, oh, that's okay. It kind of pays for someone wage. That's what a wage was back then. And it's like, oh, it's not too bad. It's like justifying it. But once I put that proper structure in place, we went from 80k to 150 to 300k to 450 to 500k plus. I've never hit the 600k, so that's one of my targets. But that structure made all the difference, and that's all I could recommend to a new BNI member that's coming in. Put the time and effort in for the first 3 to 6 months, follow the process, and you'll definitely get results.
Now, what's next for your business? I mean, you've shared with us your journey from IT help desk through to where you are today from an AI perspective, but what's next for you and your business, Lucas?
Two things. One, we're absolutely scaling this year. We had to shut down one of our AI companies last year, unfortunately. We were way too early to market. So we're scaling our consulting business this year. We want to get to say 30 staff by the end of the year and have just amazing results and clients all across the country and the world. That's from a business perspective. I'm also investing into organizations, and what I'm really passionate about is this next 10 years around this baby boomer. And a lot of these kids are not wanting to take over the companies from their parents. I'd love to, invest and take on these organizations and implement AI and just transform the entire business and leaving a legacy for the first generation, second or third generation who are no longer going to be in the business. That would be absolutely epic. Keep investing in businesses, and if potentially scale this business so well in the next 3 to 5 years that we exit and move on to the next business.
Good on you. Sounds like an exciting plan ahead. And fingers crossed this year is the year you get that 600K as well. So that would be magnificent.
Yeah, we're on track, that's for sure.
That's amazing. Congratulations. Fingers crossed for you and the team, mate. How do you see your relationship with BNI evolving as your business grows, Lucas?
Personally, I'd love to actually be a part of the BNI journey and implement AI into the BNI process. There's so much learnings, and I did this short course on BNI a few months back where I structured out the entire ChatGPT process on turning up to a meeting, recording the meeting, transcribing it, doing their follow-ups, like that entire process I transcribed and wrote an entire BNI process. Implementing that into the BNI app and giving that to every single member in the world as a starting point, and just implementing AI. I'd just love to be a part of the BNI journey as a global initiative. Would be absolutely epic.
Well, I know that the important people in BNI listen to this podcast diligently, Lucas. So fingers crossed they got that and reach out and take you up on your offer, which is amazing. If you could share one piece of wisdom with our listeners, now remembering that there are non-BNI people listening as well as BNI people, what would that piece of wisdom be, mate?
Hustle, hustle, hustle. If you're starting a business, and I think it's especially entrepreneurship or starting BNI, a lot of people just assume it's going to come to them without doing much work. For the first few years in business in general, in entrepreneurship, in sales, in BNI, you got to put the time and effort in. So the more you hustle in the early days, the easier it will become long term. That's probably the first piece. The second piece, which it took me a long time to figure this out, really understand yourself and who you want to be. We get caught up in, especially in rooms like BNI, and we listen to other people in businesses and how successful they've been. We forget about us and who we want to be. So you might be a person that's just gone into business and you might be happy not having any staff. You might be extremely happy not building a business and scaling a business, and you don't want to exit, but you love that profession you're doing and that's what you want to do for the next 20, 30 years. That's totally fine. But be honest with yourself, and then make sure when you're communicating with others, that's what you're communicating. If you want to scale a business and have 20, 30, 40 staff, then that's what you should be communicating. So just be very honest with yourself and don't get caught up in other people's dreams and wants and hopes.
Powerful advice, mate. Thank you. How can listeners learn more about your business or get in touch with you, Lucas?
So I am pretty unique with the fact that my name, Lucas Meadowcroft, is the only one in the world. So you can search for my name and you'll be able to find me on any social platform that exists. I'm very heavily on LinkedIn, so please definitely connect with me on LinkedIn and any of our websites. I've already got 4 businesses that I've invested into. So you're happy to follow our journey on TikTok and LinkedIn, but also many more to come. So please reach out to me, connect with me. More than happy to share my insights and wisdom and help you on your journey.
Amazing. Thank you, Lucas. Well, that wraps up another episode of the BNI Effect. I hope you enjoyed today's discussion, and I want to extend a massive thank you to our guest, Lucas Meadowcroft, for sharing his amazing insights, and he's having phenomenal success, and it sounds like he's going to have a whole lot more as well into the future. If you found value in today's episode, then don't forget to subscribe to the BNI Effect on your favorite podcast platform, and please leave us a review. Until next time, thank you for listening.